Welcome to the IT Collab, the podcast where the realms of community and collaboration intersect to revolutionize the delivery of IT managed services. I'm your host, Brandon Barnes. Whether you are an experienced IT professional seeking to expand your skill set or a visionary business leader in search of innovative solutions, we have you covered. Our experienced guests, comprising of industry veterans and thought leaders, will offer invaluable perspectives and insights to guide you through the dynamic landscape of IT. So, let us embark on this thrilling journey together. Let's go.
How's it going, Brandon?
Going good, Nathan. It's going good.
It's good to see you. It's exciting to get together and record another episode. So thank you for making time to sit down with me. I'm excited to chat about a fun topic today. So today we're going to interview you and kind of in the theme of having conversations on the podcast that are similar to the conversations we had while having lunch. Over the last couple, maybe year and a half or so, you've been kind of walking me through all the stuff you've been doing for your wife's business, helping her kind of get her business off the ground and marketing stuff. So I'm really excited to pick your brain on some of the things you've learned and some of the tactics you took there. So
Well, absolutely.
jump in.
So honestly, this is to kind of put it out there. I've been in IT for I don't know, 15. No, it's more than that now. I can't. I think it's 17 years now. And so
Right.
before that, previously I was in the army, so it's not like I had any experience in technology or anything previous to that. But I actually quit my job as a director of IT at a specific company that I will not name, and I really jumped right into my wife's business as I had, my mom just passed away. I did some things, so I was like, I really jumped in. And here my wife is trying to create and recreate her hair extension business. So if anyone out there has some wives that need hair extensions, just say, just kidding. But the whole point was that she really wanted to kick this off the ground. So we're having to completely redo her website, and we're having to rethink how we strategize in marketing. And what is marketing? Because I had no clue what the heck that was. How do you get your name out there? And really, it started with a basic website. We just had our basic. She had a website, but I mean, it was like pricing. It had some other things. It wasn't really a funnel. Um, really, social
Sure.
media presence was at a minimum. I think we had more pictures of our dog on it than it was like anything else. Maybe some of the kid pictures wasn't anything in particular. And so you really had to think about marketing. How do you get people to come to you that utilize you in a way that you've never really done? So here's my wife going out getting certified in these different things and really, taking on. We even took on, or she took on some clients that for pro bono kind of deal, right? Like just to get practice in and really get her skills on. She's been doing hair for 15 years, but it's a different share when you're really trying to improve your skills in a different skill set. So I followed all these process, man. I went through like the Facebook because everyone's like, oh, use Facebook, use Facebook. And so really where this relates to technology and how we're looping it back in is how important it became to automate as much as possible. And right. And even so in marketing, um, having to type pixels in, right, so that I can track that someone actually clicked a Facebook link, filled out a form, because that's how Facebook tracks you. Otherwise, if you put in something that just says, "Hey, click on my website," oh, there will be some clicks to your website. Doesn't mean they're real. Does I don't even know where they come from. But if there's that point,
Sure.
and at the same point, you start to realize, okay, great. We started to get more social media out there, right? You're trying to get your LinkedIn. You have, well, not her LinkedIn, but like, so Instagram is big for hairstylists because it's like their portfolio, and same with Facebook in a way. So really, what happened at that point, me being a troubleshooter, is like, if this, then that, right? So if I'm trying to get people to come and click on our ads. So then I had to get involved with Google Ads. Oh my God. How, dealing with Google Ads and Facebook ads is not simplistic whatsoever, right? You're trying to reach your target audience. What areas do you want to go? What, at the same time, how do you know they're going to click? What is something that's going to be catchy that says, hey, click here? Oh, and by the way, if you're in Google and you say like a phrase word like, hey, did you know most people are doing this for their hair or whatever? Say it's IT for whatever. So if you're trying to do that, Google will block you and say this is a misleading or a catchy phrase, whatever phrase, and so they'll kind of stop you. Versus Facebook does not. So then you're starting to learn the nuances of, okay, turn this knob in Google Ads, and really you're just trying to tweak
Sure.
one knob at a time. And I would say from March 1st of last year to August, we tweaked a lot of knobs. And really what it came down to finally is like, I think we got the marketing thing down, like where Google ads were getting out there to people. People were searching. We have the SEO, search engine optimization. So like the pages say that they're linked to this. This is what the page is about. No one really cared, so they get to the page, but once they get to your website, is it a good funnel? What makes them want to click,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So let if you don't mind me kind of
Yep.
jumping in here a little bit. Obviously hair extensions is not
No.
a topic that was gonna high on our list of things to talk about on an IT podcast, but I think the content's really interesting, as many of us are in industries where demand generation is a thing we need, right? I'm in pre-sales engineering currently, and finding those good leads is a thing. And in every industry, that's an art. And I think what's interesting about a lot of that is there's a lot of commonalities, whether you're doing hair extensions or you're selling IT services or dog treats or cars. You're trying to get in front of the buying persona and get their attention, right? And so, um,
It's also
I guess my first
no,
go ahead.
so it really also became possibly becoming a trusted advisor. So maybe, for instance, not ready to buy now, but educating them and not just selling them. I've done more research on this too, and trying to get. I'm not saying I'm an expert whatsoever, but I definitely been delving in, even on the IT side, as far as number one, you want to grab their attention, lead them, but you're trying to educate them. And what I found too in the website, by the way, it was interesting is just whereas technology is all this is done in the back end. Like I'm trying to optimize Google here and tweak this. Oh, and by the way, you probably want to make sure you add some security because if someone gets into your website or they get into your stuff, let's make sure we MFA Facebook and Instagram because I watched a couple people get hacked and they're blocked. So their whole
Yes.
entire funnel, we had a different person,
Oh
and so
man.
someone started posting like bad stuff on their Facebook, and they got completely blacklisted from Facebook, and that's how they were getting a lot of business. So, hey, throw that in, just FYI, probably want to do that.
Yeah, no, it's a good call out. So it's interesting because I think you've called out a couple things. So there's getting the eyeballs, which may not be buying personas yet. They're just people interested. And I would guess in something like the hair extensions, as you've talked about. There's the casual scrollers of ladies just kind of, oh wow, look at this, and they share it to the thing, and all of a sudden you've got 100 more eyeballs because
Right.
you had some person who's got a lot of people connect a lot of connections on Instagram who liked something that you posted. So you're kind of building that. But once you start to build that interest, you're starting to get eyeballs. What's the next step? What are you trying to do with that? How are you trying to capture them and turn them into the next step? Because now you're getting views. What's next after
So
that?
once it's views, right? I mean, once again, our world is completely different than maybe in hair extensionists, where uh, she goes out. Someone might want that right away, and they go, "I want to buy that." Right? Versus my services might be
Right.
long term relationship. Therefore, it's a completely different buy. And so then I will tell you this. So I learned in here too. And once again, I'm trying to relate this to technology. Website was huge. Website was the killer deal. Once I could see traffic, so I saw the analytics come in to the website and say, hey, we're getting a lot of people coming to the website now. So we might have a little bit of advertising going on pretty well. So what's the common problem? It's the website, right? And then everyone's like, oh, what do you do? What do you do? Honestly, it took me 8 tries, 8, no kidding, right? And you kind of have to let it simmer. Like, let's see if it works. And I finally, she was on a call with someone else, and I copied the methodology of a different stylist that was working for. It was a guy out in like St. Louis, and he just moved, and it really was just call to action, like click now to book. This is why this is so important. This is why a consultation is so important, right? I mean, in her case, just like anyone else's case, um, for most businesses, I can't just give you a price out the gate because I need to know more about you,
Right.
right? I can't. There's different fixes. So, what types of things I use or what she used, what types of, how for her, in her case, how thick is your hair? How long is your hair? Is it brittle? What is this? What is that? And so she has to go down this whole thing because how do I match it? What's the color? I can't match your hair color over the, she actually has like swatches, right? So how do you match the hair color over like a
Right.
consultation like this or over the phone? I can't tell you that hair color might be different than this. So it's like, just being important and knowledgeable of educating people is why that's important. And then all of a sudden, bam, like as soon as we kind of got the knobs turned right, it really became just tweaking from there and just that call to action, go, go, go. But really, then it became important to the next level, right? The next level is great. So they scheduled, they said they're interested. So then, really using automation nowadays is massively important. And it's not about robots or it's impersonal. It's let's not forget, right? So if I say someone reaches out and I reach back out to them or the system says, hey, we're not, we don't forget you, or you automate your system to say, hey, don't forget to, maybe it's a person that came in 3 months ago and maybe it's say it's time to look, or, the next piece of this, I might have lost you on the podcast. I lost Nathan. Well, he's back. We lost you, Nathan.
Uh-oh. I'm back.
He came. Well, I talked a little bit while you were gone. It's okay.
Worried.
So where I was at, really, it comes down to really utilizing how you can automate things within technology. That was huge. And so I can tell you this: my wife has tried not to volunteer me, but her groups have been told that it's very nice to have a technical husband that's willing to help her out.
So you're saying all
So,
the nerds listening on here are looking for a wife. They
oh man,
might start
yeah,
try the hair extension studios for
just well, even hairstyle,
dates.
just the technology, and actually, when you really look at it, is just instead of just doing haircuts or whatever it is this is a business,
Right.
right?
Right.
There's still the same security risks that you have. There's still the same, processes that you can use, to using a CRM, tying it in on your calendars. Here's your Outlook.
Mhm.
Here's your, it's much more professional to send an email as yourcompany.com
Yes.
versus hairstylist24 at gmail.com. And that's huge. And then
It's a
actually
big turn
implementing,
off.
I mean,
It's a big turn off
it
anytime
is
I deal with somebody and they have a Gmail account. It really makes me question trusting them with things.
how
I
legitimate.
yeah, you're like, you need to figure that out. That's a big deal. Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
and even that, like tying it, just it's been a very interesting journey, right, to say the least. Here's another one. Here's another one. I was talking to a business coach I went golfing with, and I said, "What do you use for marketing?" Right, and he actually told me that he found a gentleman online, and they their big one was Facebook. So he was, and we're talking business coaches, and they're like, your business isn't sexy. It's not something that it's just you go out and just push all over Google. So how do you get people to buy?
Yeah.
And so their big push was Facebook only, and they really led back to granted, this is where technology comes in because you really have to be smart with creating the right pages and then creating the right materials in the Facebook ads that go back to your site, because you really want to track. I mean, it's all about the analytics too. If you're just throwing dollars at something, or saying, hey, I'm going to push Facebook ads, um, it doesn't really do much. But to actually sit there and track that they clicked on your stuff and booked an appointment with you, and it's tracking it and it's giving it to you, then that's massive, right? Because then you can actually track what you're doing and you're not wasting it. And that took me a bit of time, even as a technical person, to understand, as far as putting the right pixels in the right places. tracking the forms, getting the things, and then it was really about, I mean, their pages. It was really weird because their pages, like, very specific. Do not put any like header on your web page. Don't put any footer on your web page. Specifically, they're there to book it, schedule an appointment, put their information in so that you can, get a hold of them. And that's how this business coach told me they landed a good amount of business, is just by doing that Facebook ad.
Interesting.
And right, isn't it? I would have
Wonder
never guessed.
I wonder if that's a demographic thing, right? Because I think the
Yeah,
demographics on Facebook are a little older. If you're an older business owner, you're probably not on Instagram, but you might be on Facebook, right?
yeah.
So it's about
Well,
knowing your target and knowing where they're spending their time.
it's true. I mean, you think, and it really depends. I think logistically too. Um, you do need to find your target market for sure. That's definitely something I was not aware of maybe a couple years ago. However, it wasn't technically my job at that point, but now it's becoming more and more. Even here where I'm doing today, is it's becoming more and more a part of my job. And even so, thinking about why is it that Facebook and Instagram wasn't working in the Denver area versus other stylists that she was talking to that it's working for in California, where they were using purely almost Instagram,
Interesting.
you know? Right. Or even the age difference. A lot of Instagram users here are younger and they can't afford to do those things. And even for us in our industry, how many companies or business owners are on Facebook, or that we want to reach out to and help, that are they on Facebook, are they on Instagram, are they on LinkedIn for us? I mean, you're definitely not going to probably post about hair extensions on LinkedIn unless you want to target business owners. I don't know.
Right.
Female, maybe.
Interesting.
I mean, unless there's some guy that wants hair extensions, probably female business owners, maybe. But
Right. So you
I
mentioned
don't know.
automation, and my mind immediately went to CRM. So was that a lot of that was that done in the CRM? As soon as somebody made a connection, you were tracking their activity there.
I would say at first, no. Like at
Okay.
first, really wasn't. It didn't become a part of the language. It has in the last 6 months,
Okay.
and I did not know the need for it probably until that point.
Okay.
Even I mean, just here's another here's another cool thing. This is a business trick. We do have a CRM in place now, and if you submit a form that we do track, and it does alert us. So I created workflows that say, do this, put it as a put it in here in the CRM as this, do the right things here, text me, email her, text her, let her know that's happening, do this so you don't miss it, put it here, and so it does these whole automated tasks that you don't have to do manually. And that's a really big piece of everything that's going on, is just automating, but it's also following up, like, hey, we do see you, let us know. Maybe it's a missed call that comes through and it says, hey, it's a text that sends back to him and says, hey, um, I'm currently, in an appointment or whatever. I'm busy right now. How can I help you? You can text me. There's other things we can automate to really help them out, so they feel, or not feel, but just also just there's a response. Maybe it's 3 months on the road and you're busy with clients and you forget to say, hey, you probably need to come back in. Um, Automate that, right? So it's reaching out. So the automation is a massive piece of this. Another great one, honestly, Nathan, was contracts. So can you imagine like custom typing in a contract every single time, of like,
Oh
here,
man.
you have to manually, and so you have to, you're doing this manually every time. Here's your name, here's do this Word document, make a PDF. So it's just a pain. And we actually got it down. We have a new system in place where she can fill out a form and automatically fills in the contract, and texts and emails it to him right off the
That's great.
bat. And so it's just the automation piece. How much time does it save you to automate? Is not just a hair extensionist. This, we're talking like, we're using it today on a consistent basis, like massive overload, because it helps me on a daily basis to automate as much as possible.
Yeah. That's a good call out.
You know, how much automation do you guys use?
Well, at SourcePass, we do a lot of automation. I know both on marketing side, we're using a pretty well developed CRM, and I know there's a lot of workflows built around that.
Yeah,
And that was true at Machine Logic as well. And then SourcePass, a lot of what they're doing a lot of cool automation around ticket flows, and and that sort of
Yeah.
stuff. There's a lot of really great stuff in our space that can be done using tickets, and I'll get a guy on one of these days to get Graham on and have him share what he does. There's some really cool stuff going on there, and I think that's a big opportunity in our space is to automate a lot of those ticket flows. It's a good place for AI plugs in of analyzing tickets and automating their workflows and that sort of thing. But what CRM did you end up settling with for your wife's business?
It's a different one. It's one that is through a different group that's kind of new. I
Okay.
got in as a tester
Oh, interesting.
because I'm it's called Hair Pro 360, and so it's not really out. It's not big.
Yeah,
It's actually it's in its infancy, and so I'm actually helping come back with like, hey, you need to fix this, tweak this, do this,
that's
and
great.
as a whole, I think they're really trying to make it more of an ERP. But I mean, it's also the
Yeah,
marketing workflows too, right? Like sending
yeah,
out emails and doing the things to say happy birthday, and it's just
that's
trying to
cool.
stay and touch in front of somebody.
Yeah,
I know another one out there like that we were considering is Keep. Keep was, I mean, because here's the thing: if you're talking like some CRMs, like say you're talking like Microsoft Dynamics, you're gonna have to build that out and spend a lot of money.
yes,
But
a lot of
I
time.
think the point is, even as a one person shop, right? As my wife runs her hair extension business, is that's massively helpful and can help you do a lot of things, even to the point where they're adding AI into it. Where the new feature onto it that they're having me test is add all the questions, like they have a lot of questions that people are going to ask about it. And then what they're doing is like, and they're trying to get them to book an appointment. Okay, I'm not available this time, but and it's almost like someone's responding to them
Chatbot.
live.
They're like an AI
Yeah,
chatbot. That's great.
it is. But the whole focus is to get you scheduled, and it's all
Yeah,
focused on tailoring it to how you would respond.
that's
It's
cool.
not just a standard
Yeah,
chatbot. Like you're trying to like one up it with the AI, and so you have to answer all these questions as to how you would answer.
give it your
And
tone and your
mhm.
perspective and your insights. That's cool. But I think it makes a lot of sense for a lot of these industries to be using I think of like HVAC. Like there's just so
Yeah,
much of that workflow that the CRM and the workflow and the billing and the contracts, it's all the same engagement, right? You get somebody to call, you want to keep that phone number, you want to keep that connection, you want to feed that connection and remind them that you're there. So the next time they have a problem, they think of you. Um, it makes a lot of sense. You settle with like an industry specific CRM because there's so much of what you've described that's very unique to what you're doing, right? It's not,
it,
you know,
even one that can help. I mean, like the massive one, biggest selling point too is just being able to generate those proposals out the gate. If
yes,
she's sitting there in her in or behind the chair, right? So that's another reason why I have this is if she's with the customer, she's not going to stop and answer the phone. She's not going to stop and text someone back. I mean,
no,
you're busy doing a job. So on a one person shop, how important it is to have something like that to do things in the background that you're not having to wait and spend 2 hours doing at the end of the day. You know,
that's
and
cool.
especially when you're busy or that's what I'm saying. Like as any business, small business, to automate those type in the service industry could really benefit from automating. Here's the problem: who do you go to automate for you?
Right.
Because that's I could see this being pretty big because a lot of like we've talked to other friends of hers and they're like, I don't even know where to start.
Yeah.
And so I do appreciate that my wife goes back to. She's like, I really appreciate you. I'm so grateful to have you around. So that what can I say?
Just like
That's a
you're
big
not
one.
allowed to go to any of these conferences because I will lose you.
No, it's all good. I mean, it's been funny and to watch them, and especially from a technical standpoint, just it's been fun because the people come back to me and they're like, "Oh, you already did that. Okay, I guess we're going on to advanced training today." I'm like,
Yeah,
"Perfect. Very
that's
already
cool.
verified this, did this.
Well,
It's
I mean, I
pretty
think it's
awesome."
interesting to think about because like a lot of us in this space, you're either on the website or you're not, right? We've traditionally avoided website things because it's marketing, graphic design, website. Websites stopped being a technical problem 20 years ago. It's a design, it's a communication, it's a workflow, it's a CRM
Call
problem.
to
It's
action.
a
It's
it's a call
Yeah.
to
Once you get to the
action.
website, here's what I will say is as much as people don't want to think, everyone's going to go to your website,
Right.
right? It's a verification. Are you legitimate? What's my call to action? What do I do next? Why should I buy from you? why should I do business with you?
All those things.
And
Yeah.
it is important, but I think that especially in your industry, kind of nailing those things down is massively important. It was really really helpful. Um, I think it's a big piece of it, but I can't say that I'm a master of it.
Sure.
I'm not a big web designer. It was if I would I would go to a professional and say, "Help me make this 10 times better than I did." I used a
Yes.
cookie cutter program. I'm not,
Yes.
I'm
But a good
that's all.
website's also 40 or 50 grand from a lot of developers, right? I mean, the amount of time they put in, I mean, they're really
Dude.
thinking through all, and you understand why as you dig into it. You're like, there's a lot there. So let me ask you about another aspect of it. You mentioned you
Yeah.
got your SEO dialed in. You kind of threw that in there as something in passing. Talk to me about that because I know that that's, Google's really interested in providing good results, but not always interested in servicing you as the vendor. They're more trying to drive ad revenue. So sometimes SEO can be
Misleading.
a dark art and a very difficult thing. And it's not just Google AdWords either. There's a lot of other layers that go into there. What are the tricks you learned doing SEO?
So another thing you can do is you can go to keyword.google.com or something along those
Uh
lines,
huh.
and you can actually search what keywords are being populated in your area. So trying to hit those on the website. I didn't go too deep. I think SEO is a trap. I think
Okay.
it's starting to, in a way to, in my opinion, I think it's not as good as it used to be, right?
Yep.
So SEO was
Yep.
so search engine optimization is that you put the right words on your website so that you could pop up in searches, right? And that's not necessarily not true anymore, but I think it wasn't. There's a big piece of this too on your the business. So what I found too is when people Google you is more important than trying to search for a specific thing on someone's website to get an answer. And so
Yeah.
properly doing your business profile and being in Google and on those other things, and you're doing your right business profile. So you have to add your services. What do you do? And that was the hardest part because I'm also saying, what do people search for in the local area? And
Right.
so that's what I'm trying to look for on the search and really adding it to the Google business profile by far became the most important piece of this. But here's another catch to it. With Google, you tend like so when you typed in hair extensions near me in the area, right? She wouldn't show. And
Interesting.
it took a while, but as soon as I started adding Google ads to her account, boop, you start
Yes.
popping up that list. It wasn't about like you got to if you pay them, you go up.
You got to pay to play.
That's
Yep.
yeah.
Yep, there's an algorithm
So
under there. And I think the world's gonna, you know, as a cautionary topic, spending too much time on SEO, like you said, I think is a trap. And especially right now, AI is absolutely obliterating that world. I mean, go do a Google search and tell me that the results don't look completely different than they did 6 months ago. I mean, there's AI results and there's this and there's that. And there's such a arms race to get ahead of AI that I think some of the search engine algorithms are getting deconstructed. They're getting reinvented.
yeah,
The way they serve up topics and content is completely different. And not to say that it's not worth putting time into it, but my guess is that in the long term, it's all still going to come down to quality of content, right? Like
well,
I've heard a lot of people say, really good blog articles and content on your site that's just useful and meaningful and interesting about the topic is one of the best things you can do because it you're not trying to game the
that
system, you're just providing good content.
that's where I would put my SEO. I put all my SEO I put all my keywords that they're searching for in my blog posts, not around the Western website, right? Because it's just explanations of things. Blog posts are like stories and things people want to read. It's when I'm searching for how to help fix this, that's what it's go to those
Yes.
explanations, go to those posts
Yes.
that people put in to help you. That's where I think I found the most value for it. In my wife's world, going back to this, it's to use what type of extensions, this one or that one, right? So that's where I'd put on my SEO for sure. And they research. I'll tell you that much. They
Oh, I
do.
bet they do. I bet they do. I just it just hit me as we were talking. This has hit me before, but I love the irony of a guy with a shaved head talking about hair extensions. It's the best. It's so funny.
you know, God gave me what I got.
Yeah, that's it,
It
man.
is what it is. What it is. It is what it is.
Well, I mean,
I learned. I learned a lot.
it sounds like over this adventure, what I love about it is, You think the thing that draws us to technology, the reason we're all here, is it's fun. We get to learn every day. Like that was one of the things that really drew me into technology was I get to play with technology. It's building with Legos, but they're digital virtual Legos, right? And I gotta read the instructions and figure out how to do the build thing, and then I'm gonna break it down and build it into something new. And every day I learn something new in this job, and that's always been one of the joys. And to me, even though this is adjacent to core technology, it's something we touch all the time. We're on Google all the time. We understand, a lot of the technology using there, but you got to go dig deep into something, learn some new things, get better at something, and it's just fun to hear all the stuff you learned. And I mean, in the end, it's worked really well for your wife, right? Like her business has kind of exploded out of this effort you guys have done, and that's an amazing outcome
Where
as well.
if I was to put it correctly, really it takes time. Any of this stuff takes time. And I would say for any small business owner out there, like just give it time because you're just maybe someone doesn't really know what they want right now, but they'll remember you later on, or you pop in the search over and over, whatever the case may be. And so that's number one. But it really didn't, it took August until like that March to August time frame for us to really get kicking. And so yeah, it's really taken off over that time, but it hasn't even technically been a year since it really started going. So once this August hits, and I can only imagine where it goes over, as we're tweaking, we're still turning knobs, just like a little bit more, a little bit more. And so I'm excited to see where it goes in the next few years.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, Brandon, I
But
appreciate you letting me be the question asker this time. I enjoyed it. I learned a lot, and it's fun to learn about and learn about a whole new aspect of our industry. So thanks for sharing all that.
I really appreciate you having me on, Nathan. And
It's great. Um, Perfect. Well, um, I think we've got a couple of episodes stacked up, so we're hoping to start dropping a few more coming up, getting a little bit more consistent, lining up some guests, and so um, looking forward to exploring some new topics with you over the next couple weeks and interviewing some new guests. And thanks to everybody who's listening. We appreciate it. Like, subscribe, do all the things, share with your friends. Right now, we're mostly sharing about the episodes on LinkedIn, so feel free to give us a little share there. Um, we'll see if we can kind of grow it a little bit and just see if we can um, just get some ears. We're not doing this for money. We're not trying to, you know, make a bunch of money off this or something. I think covering our costs would be great. But I mean, you and I enjoy love talking about this stuff. I really get a lot out of just spending time talking about technology, and I hope that comes through, and I hope people enjoy it. So
absolutely. Talk to you soon, everyone. Thank you.
thanks.